Good morning, just before midnight, midday,
Yeah.
I wish, on Thursday, the 26th of March. It's been a busy morning already, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of the New Street authors. You may recall David Wake and I chatted for 2 hours, 23 minutes and 53 seconds the other day. So that's on YouTube. And so one of the New Street authors, Martin Tracey, who is equally prolific, if not more so, I'd say, and certainly with the variation of the topics you've covered, certainly in your non-fiction. And so we'll come to those, not necessarily one by one, because we may end up being 2 hours, 23 minutes and 54 seconds. But certainly we always start off. Hello, Martin. First of all,
Hello.
so I'm down in Buckinghamshire, Aylesbury, and you're up the M1, M6,
M6.
something like that.
You'd probably have to do the M40 or something to get to the
Yes, I
M6.
think so now. I'm so used to,
Yeah.
Northampton previously, so I'm so used
Yeah.
to doing M1, M6. But yes, M40,
Up
M6.
in Birmingham, when you're here on
Birmingham.
the traffic, there's always traffic congestion on the M6 at Great Bar. You hear it on the national radio. I'm
Do
not far
you?
from there. Not far from there.
Well, Aylesbury's not far off that at the moment because I listen to Greatest Hits Radio, and there are the Bicester Road. He calls it a Bicester Road.
Yeah.
There's always the roadworks because they're doubling the size of Aylesbury
Wow.
within a decade. It'll
Wow.
be double, which is crazy. But they're not building the infrastructure. Anyway, we could talk about roadworks, but we're here to talk
Yeah.
about you and your book. So we always start at the beginning. We have a nicer day today. We had a really howly, windy day,
Yeah.
which didn't help the internet the other day with HJ Furl. Whereas today it's calmed down and it's lovely and sunny, and maybe not so warm, but sunny. So I'm delighted, Martin, you could join me. We have chatted previously, but
Yeah.
it's lovely now to talk solely about you and your writing. I may pitch in every now and then. But we'll start at the beginning. Can you remember the first thing you wrote, whether it's at school or something memorable from back in the
Yeah.
day?
I remember the first thing I wrote of any kind of significance, I guess. I was around the age of 6, and I wrote two things, but obviously there was an order to them. And they were national competitions for my school. This is where I kind of found out I was okay with words at such a young age.
Mm.
I mean, I'd always, anyway, read Enid Blyton and that kind of thing. So I was an avid reader from a very, very young age. And Enid Blyton she just helps the imagination flourish, And I do think
Yes.
reading at that early age, in particular Enid Blyton, sparked something in me imagination wise as my little tiny brain was growing. But anyway, I digress. And it was about a road safety campaign. And I wrote about a magic ice cream van that helped
Oh,
children cross the road. And
how
yeah, and it
lovely.
won a competition. And then and I got in the national press at a very young age. They called me Martin Stacey, which I weren't too impressed with.
Oh,
But I
no.
did have a picture with me little green cross code mug. Remember the green cross code?
I do. And the
Yeah.
Jolly Green, well, no, Jolly Green Giant was
Going,
Sweetcorn,
yeah,
wasn't it? But yes,
but there
I
was
think it's
the
the
green
same with
cross code
David.
man. It was the
Yeah,
guy out of Star Wars, weren't he? Darth
yes,
Vader.
he was Darth. I think he was the original Darth
Yeah.
Vader back
And
in the day.
then there was another campaign about trying to stop kids getting into building sites and
Oh,
health
yes.
and safety wasn't what it was back in the day.
No.
And there was a lot of things obviously happening at the time where kids were getting in on building sites and getting injured. So I
Yes.
wrote
No,
another
I,
story.
I remember the road safety campaign
Yeah,
because for years afterwards, there's a bit where it goes still. I think either leading up to a child having an accident or has had an accident,
yeah,
and there's just this few seconds of a really loud
yeah,
heartbeat. And
yeah,
I couldn't listen to heartbeats. I mean, you don't hear them very often,
yeah.
but that freaked me out a bit. Just
I
a
think
really
the
loud heartbeat.
I think the advert campaigns back in the day were really powerful, and we remember them now. Do you remember Charlie the cat? Who Charlie says,
Oh, I do. I
Yeah,
do.
remember all that. Remember
With the
all the
big
green cross
eyes.
codes. Yeah, big eyes.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
funny.
got jumping on a bit. The AIDS campaign totally. God, that was terrible. John Hurt done a voiceover, didn't he? And it was
I
like,
did.
I was convinced I was going to die of AIDS. I really was. I don't.
Because
I
it
just
back then
thought,
it was like
yeah,
early days of COVID. Nobody
yeah,
really knew
yeah,
what what was. It was almost like it
yeah.
was it was a plague that was going to kill everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Nobody really knew the scope of it.
But in terms of the advertising or the awareness raising, I should call it,
Mm, mm,
it was very, very powerful, and it did hit strike. All these campaigns definitely struck a chord. But
mm,
going back then, after going back to my writing,
mm.
after the Magic Ice Cream Van, the next campaign that came along was about the building sites, and I wrote about a mechanical digger that helped kids. So I kept the theme going with, inanimate
Yes,
objects that come
yes.
to life and helped. And I won that one as well. Um,
Wow,
so I
brilliant.
kind of knew quite an early age. Okay, I'm not too
Yeah,
bad at writing stories.
yes. Especially national. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's good stuff. My
Wow.
school were chuffed. I think they got
Yeah.
more of the plaudits than I did, but hey, I won a
Wow.
load. I remember that. I think that won them a load of sort of book tokens or something, so they
Okay.
could stock their library.
Yeah.
Um, but
Oh,
anyway,
fantastic.
glad to help Hawthorne Road Primary School.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Give them a plug.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So what roll on, how long until you did you find life took over school and thereafter that life took over, or did
Yeah,
you
yeah. I mean, my first, even though I'd done them writing and I loved writing and I love reading, my
Mm,
first love was always music, really.
right.
I grew up on Elvis, my dad's Elvis collection on our old gramophone. You remember the big, massive, they were like a sideboard,
They
but then
were,
the gramophone
yes,
was
and
in.
had a thing that lifted up. Yes,
That's right,
I
yeah.
do.
And you used to be able to stack like 17 records on top of one another.
Right.
And
Get all warped.
it was definitely Elvis that my
Yeah.
dad's collection that I nicked. A bit later, I found the Beatles all by myself.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, I had piano lessons as well at the age of around the age I'd done them writing. Actually, my mum had been gifted a piano for a lady she worked for, and I had piano lessons, and that was helpful, obviously, because I love music. And
Mm.
then in going into, I always wanted to form a band at school, but none of my mates were really into it,
Oh,
But as soon as I left school, pretty much soon after school, and ironically, with a lad who was at my school, who I didn't really know was a drummer, he was a drummer. We
mm,
started then writing songs and done a little demo. Then that grew
mm.
into what I'd call a songwriting career, probably with a little C.
Right, right.
Yeah, but I did
Oh,
definitely, that was my goal to
yeah.
like try and make it in the music business, and got close. Had a met Mickey Most,
Oh,
had
yes.
an
Didn't he have
interview.
big hair?
Yeah, he used to be
Most.
on New Faces,
Yeah.
one of the judges, wasn't he?
Yes.
But he was a lot nicer in real life than what
Right.
he, because he was a bit of a Simon Cowell, I guess, on the
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, spoke RAK, Chrysalis, few others, but they never. This is with another guy then, Gary. But then they never seemed to commit, and we won Battle of the Bands, blah 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 blah. Long
Mm.
story short, anyway, I never made it. My big highlight with my mate Scott. I'll give my mate Scott a plug. He was my singer by that time, and again wrote songs.
Mm.
So my writing manifested through songwriting, really. We did get to support Fine Young Cannibals, Roland Gifton and the Fine Young Cannibals, which was a highlight. That was really good.
Wow.
But then it never really took off beyond that peak, a lot of radio interviews, etc.
Mm.
But there just came a point when I thought, you know what? I think music, I've always loved music, but I've kind of got to where I can go. I've gone as far as I can really with music. I felt, rightly or wrongly.
Because there's a big leap.
And
It's like writing. There's a huge
yeah,
leap into actually being able to make a career
yeah, yeah,
of it.
yeah. And so
Mm.
I did the old adage, everyone's got a book in them. I'd had an
Okay.
idea about a book, and I'd started reading again. People like Dan Brown, I know he gets his knockers, but I just think the Da Vinci Code was absolutely wonderful, and
Well,
Angels and
yeah,
Demons.
a lot of
Yeah,
writers say that J.K. Rowling and Dan Brown aren't particularly good writers, but they
yeah,
tell a great story. And
exactly.
really,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
I say. I edit because it's my day job. I
Yeah,
edit for the 100th reader because
yeah,
99 readers won't notice, but there'll always be one who does.
yeah,
And the 100th reader will be the one who picks up on grammar and
yeah, yeah,
and is bothered by things like he dove, and it's very much an Americanism instead
yeah,
of he dived.
Yeah.
He dove, and
Yeah.
the Forgotten, and Goner, and all
Yeah.
those. And most people won't notice. They won't notice the quality or the style of
Yeah.
writing. They're just, and really that's what you want. You want a page
Yeah.
turner. You don't
Absolutely.
want anybody who thinks, well, actually, that should be an among instead of amongst, or
Yeah.
something like that. Because otherwise, I look. My job, I think, as an editor, is
Yeah.
to make sure that nobody comes out of the story. They give
Yeah.
them no reason to
Yeah.
stop at any point unless they
Yeah.
need to.
Exactly. Keep
Mm.
cliffhangers. Each
Yeah.
chapter must finish on a cliffhanger of
Yeah.
sorts, at least.
How old?
And
How old were you? What
keep.
age are we talking now when you
I'm talking.
first spoke?
I'm talking 30s, really.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, about the
So
same as
yeah.
me.
So
Mm,
it was I hadn't really done nothing other than songwriting. I hadn't wrote anything in anger, and
yeah.
never wanted to. But I'd loved reading Stephen King, Richard Lehman, James Herbert, that sort of stuff. But in terms of then a new author, if you like, back then,
Mm,
someone who could probably challenge them. I did find that Dan Brown, he kind of inspired me to get back into reading.
mm,
Um, because them guys have got obviously legacy of books which you can pick up and read still now, can't you?
yeah. Yeah.
But it was that mixing fact with fiction and that kind of thing.
Mm,
Um, that really inspired actually not my first book, but my Judd Stone series is like faction. Someone told me it's faction
okay.
because I mix fact with fiction. But
Yeah.
then my first book that I wrote, um, I had this idea. I had this idea that I loved football um, as well as music.
Mm,
And I wanted to set it in Birmingham. And I love vampires, always love vampires. So Richard Lehman, The Travelling Vampire Show, one of my favourite
right.
books. But also, I loved Salem's Lot. I
Yeah.
loved the
That's my
films.
era.
Yeah,
Christine, Firestarter. I
that's it.
grew up
Yeah.
on those. I say I blame Stephen King for me wearing glasses because I'd be under the torch,
Oh,
under the duvet
hi.
with a torch when I should have been sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear my dog barking? It's something, no, probably vampire
Yeah.
flying there. But anyway, and I'm very visual. I love films, and I loved From Dusk Till Dawn by Quentin Tarantino,
Okay.
who
Yeah.
I think when you read some of my writing, the edginess and the approach, there's a lot of Quentin Tarantino, although he writes films, there's a lot
Yeah.
of Quentin Tarantino influence in my books.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
also The Lost Boys, I thought that was a
Oh,
magical
I love
film.
that film. People Are Strange. It introduced me to People Are
Yeah,
Strange by the Doors. We
yeah,
went we went to the cinema. The only time I sit and do nothing is when we go to the cinema, and we don't go often enough. But it has to be something that really grabs us.
yeah,
And husband Tim is a Andy Weir fan, and
yeah,
so we'd seen The Martian, and we watched it the other day, sort of pre
yeah,
Project Hail Mary,
yeah, yeah,
and went to see Project Hail Mary. And when we came out, fantastic film, best film I've seen in a long, long time. I don't know if you've seen it. But we came out. You were saying about Enid Blyton earlier on.
yeah,
We came out of ranting and raving about this wonderful film that we'd just seen. It's amazing. We've gone
yeah.
straight back in to see it again, and there was an advert for is it The Magic of the Faraway Tree?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
Enid Blyton, isn't it? And
yeah,
he was almost as excited by that poster
yeah,
than
yeah,
because he'd read Project Hail Mary as a
yeah,
book when it had come out, and he was almost excited by the Enid Blyton, even though
yeah,
it's a children's movie, because
yeah,
he
yeah,
grew up
yeah.
on Enid Blyton.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw I'm not sure if I saw it on the side of a bus, in London actually, when I was in London the other week. But I saw the poster somewhere, the Magic Faraway Tree, and I had
Yeah.
a similar kind of whoa.
Did
Can't
you?
wait for that one.
Oh,
But yeah, so my first book idea was actually I'm a Wolves fan, so it was about mixing werewolves with football. I thought this will be good.
okay.
People like horror, people like football. Obviously,
Yeah.
they'll snap my arm off for this book.
Right.
But I found that having werewolves was too restrictive because it's only 28 days that with the full moon. So I changed it to vampires. So
Oh yes.
Beneath the Floodlights was my first book,
Yeah.
and it was about vampires taking over a Birmingham football team.
Wow.
And I thought this was just a natural marriage. But
Yeah.
even now, when I'm at book signings and that and book festivals, people say to me, "Wow, that's a strange one,"
Yeah. So
and it didn't.
was that the first ever book you
Yeah,
wrote? That
yeah,
so
yeah,
you did publish it in the end.
yeah,
Oh,
definitely. Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
so often we write the first thing. Oh, well,
yeah,
Hitman Sam was the first longest piece. I thought I'd written a really long short story. It was called Detective Dan, and
yeah.
it was about this boy thinking he's seen a dragon in the back garden, and yeah, no, dinosaur in the back garden, and I thought it seemed to go on for a long time because I tend to
Mm,
started really writing short stories and flash fiction. And I thought probably it was about 10,000 words, something like that. So
hmm
10,000 to 50,000, yes, is a bit of a stretch, but I thought, well, I've
hmm
written something, a chunk already. Went back and it was about 2,800 words. So
mm.
then I realised actually 50,000 words is quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So and I was doing it for NaNoWriMo, so it was
Mm,
the target. I think it came out at 52,000.
hmm
That was my target. And I seem to think that I'd written quite long things before that and then learned that I hadn't. But yes, I have things that will stay forever in the
Yeah.
electronic bottom drawers that will
Really?
probably never see light of day.
Okay. I was
I,
like that with songs. I'm sorting out stuff because we're potentially going to move soon.
okay.
Down Worcestershire way
Oh,
because long
nice.
story short, our daughter has had a baby, my first
Oh, how
grandchild, and they're
lovely.
moving that way, so we're going to move anyway.
Oh, how lovely.
So I've found all these song lyrics that I've wrote on the back of envelopes and all
Yeah,
sorts that they never saw the light of day. But I
yeah.
just can't part with them. I'm a right hoarder. I'm terrible. My wife
Oh,
hates me
yes,
for
but it's
it.
creativity. And I think
Yeah,
it was Somerset Maugham who said that you have to write a million words to be a writer.
yeah, yeah.
And
I've
it is
certainly
all
done
just practice.
that.
It's like learning a language.
Yeah,
You don't learn a language by saying half a dozen words every day.
yeah,
You have to write and write and
yeah,
write and write. And I'm still 20 years in. I'm still writing things. And when I write, I've got two sort of methods. If I think, oh no, this is a load of rubbish, I'll carry on writing, but then I'll strike it through.
mm,
So I write pretty much solely on the computer or dictate into my phone. And then I can just copy and paste it into notes. I can copy and paste it from my email, comes up on Gmail.
yeah,
And then if I get stuck with something, I put more here. So I
mm,
know that there are certain things then I can just scroll through looking for the
yeah,
strikeouts.
yeah,
And once I've finished to the A to Z, I can just search for more here and see what's missing. And because
yeah,
I've written everything else, it's then easier to go back through it. And sometimes I keep it, sometimes I don't. We're not talking huge, might be half a page that I
mm,
think it's not going to go anywhere. But if I like
mm,
it, it gets cut and pasted into something else.
mm.
But I do have 100,000 word serial killer, possibly
Okay.
trilogy,
Oh,
that
well,
I call my Eric Morecambe novel
yeah.
because it's got all the right notes, but just not necessarily in the right order.
Brilliant.
And I've 45,000 word the first half of a revenge novel, or as we say in this house, Rewengi. I don't know if that rings a bell with you. Blackadder.
Oh, yeah,
I think it's Rick Mail.
yeah.
He didn't say revenge. He said, "Oh, I shall get my Rewengi." And so whenever it comes up on the TV, we just look at
Yeah.
each other and go Rewengi.
Excellent.
Anyway, so how many books have you written? How many? Let's go stick with fiction for a minute.
Yeah, fiction wise, four Judd Stone novels, and
Okay.
that's a series, which is still I haven't got a target in mind of how many books there'll be. I'll just keep writing them because they
Yeah,
are fun and they're
yeah.
quite popular, thankfully, touch wood. And then
When
two
did you?
standalone.
Okay.
I've got Beneath the Floodlights, and both in I guess, the horror genre, if you like. Beneath the Floodlights, the Vampires Football one, and then Things They'll Never See, which is about a rock star buys a haunted house in the Peak District.
Oh,
So
lovely.
that's all my fiction, yeah. I've got like short stories here, there, and everywhere, in
Yeah.
anthologies and things, but
Okay.
they're my six
Right.
belonging to just me type things,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
I've just set up a new thing as of yesterday. It was the night before last. I was doing a spotlight for H.J. Furl, who's an erotica writer,
Right.
and quite a lot of his anthologies. And so I came up with it as we were chatting this idea because I Tim has commitments 3 evenings a week,
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is the TNT panels, and then he also does a Zoom here
Hmm.
in on a Saturday evening. So I've now come up with short story and then in brackets and poetry because I don't leave poets out.
Hmm.
Short story Saturdays. So Saturday evenings at 7. Anybody. So again, panels of up to 6. So myself and 5
Hmm.
author writers, unpublished or otherwise, anything.
Yeah.
So people can either read works that they've written that are published and
Yeah.
have their book to say, oh yes, it's in this one,
Yeah.
or something could be used as a bit of a sounding board. They've
Yeah.
just written something and they're thinking of sending it out.
Yeah.
And it won't be, I'm still working on the format, but I think up to a
Mm.
couple of thousand, and it doesn't matter how many pieces, but up to a couple of thousand words per
Yeah.
person. And we'll just
Yeah.
take it in turns. So everybody will do one, and
Okay.
then
Yeah, that's good. I
other
like
people
that.
have got other ones.
That sounds
So
good.
it's, and that starts this Saturday, and most Saturdays thereafter. So that's a new thing on there. So whenever anybody mentions short stories, right?
Yeah.
Because it is my first love. If I could make money out of short stories, I'd love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. I never planned on writing novels.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Yeah.
Do you still have your dad's Elvis collection?
No, he's got it.
Oh, well, at least it still exists.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It
That's
still
good.
exists. Yeah,
Because
he's still
obviously
got it.
vinyl has now done a
Yeah.
whole 360.
Yeah.
So people are trying to reclaim
Yeah.
the albums that we're hoping. Tim had a really good collection and hoping that they're in the loft at his parents, but he married and divorced in the 31 years that we
Mm.
lost contact, and so we're hoping that they're up in his parents' loft. So when the time
And
comes,
that's where my
sort it out
dad's is in
together.
his loft. They're in his loft.
Are
So
they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're like gold dust, aren't they? Elvis, original 45s. And
Oh, absolutely.
I don't
So
even, he's got, I remember he used to have some 78s. I'm not sure if he had Elvis 78s, but
okay. Have you got something they can play on now? Because I think I bought for our first anniversary, wedding anniversary, I bought him a separate but a hi-fi system, and I think it would only play
yeah.
33s and
Nah, 45s and
55s.
33s. I've got a turntable that still does that,
Yeah,
but not 78s. No,
yeah. Maybe your dad has old school.
he might
Maybe.
have. He ain't got the sideboard gramophone anymore. I know
Oh,
that.
well, it's funny. We like watching Antiques Roadshow and Bargain
Yeah, yeah,
Hunt
yeah.
and all of those. And every now and then you used to get, oh yes, we used to have that. And is it really worth that amount of money? Crazy. And the
Yeah,
things they buy and may or may not make money on, you never
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So obviously you've got a music background.
Uh-huh.
How did your collab? Because you collaborate. Do you collaborate on all of your music books,
Yeah,
or
I mean,
some yourself, just yourself?
so the way it used to work, in all my various bands, I was in about four in all.
Mm,
Um, apart from the one, mainly I wrote my own songs. Um, but so we kind of wrote our own songs, if that makes sense. So I'd write my own song. So the collaborate very rarely was it a collaboration like two people working on a song. So
mm,
because I was a music guy, primarily I worked with two singers. Uh, and they couldn't play instruments, so they would write their own lyrics and have a basic tune, and then I'd fit music around it, or
right.
I would write the whole song fait accompli, my lyrics,
Sure.
my music. However, saying that, it's not as cut and dry as that. You
Mm,
know, the relationship was so people could any member of the band, because there was a guitarist, obviously drummers and that, anyone can validly say about an arrangement that this should happen, that should happen, change that word to that something. So
yes.
yeah, it was so it's kind of it's a collaboration in that sense, but not probably a true collaboration, if that makes sense. So
So what was your which was your first non-fiction book? Is there is all your non-fiction is music
music.
related?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll probably lump them together, to be honest, because I think my first basically there's a guy called Andrew Spark. You heard of him, Andrew?
I
APS?
haven't.
No,
No.
okay. So APS Publications. He was in New Street Authors. I'm not sure if he is
Oh,
now.
is he?
He lives up north now.
Okay.
But
I've only been a member a couple of weeks. So
okay,
other than people I've done spotlights for
yeah,
or have
okay,
done panels, I'm still working through the meeting
yeah.
new people every time we have a Thursday evening. I meet somebody new there.
So Andrew is an independent publisher as well as an author, and
Okay.
he's published loads of people's books. Um,
Okay. Well,
and he
that's
had
good
this
because
brainchild
I might
of
might pick him for October
yeah, yeah, yeah.
at
He's
the
a good
nuts and
guy. He's a
bolts.
good guy,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's a very entertaining speaker as well.
Oh, great. Okay.
He talks about, I won't digress too much, but there's a
Yeah.
mystery in these parts called Bella in the Witch Elm that has
Okay.
never been solved. Bit of a Jack the Ripper thing, but not quite. But in
Right.
terms of they found this skeleton of a woman in the Witch Elm in
Mm.
the Hagley Woods, which is near Halesowen,
Right.
and it's never been solved. Well, Andrew has kind of done like basically a journalistic investigation on it and wrote books on it and all this kind of thing, and he can actually give a talk about it without looking at any notes and anything. The
Yeah.
knowledge is there, and it's
Yeah.
really captivating when he does this.
Right.
But anyway, going back to your question,
Yeah.
he had this brainchild of pulling in different authors to write. He calls them completed recording illustrated of different
Okay.
artists, but they're basically discographies. So it's a
Yeah.
little bio. They're only little coffee table books,
Right.
and then they'll have all the artwork in of the artists. So I
Okay.
think the first one I done was John Lennon. It must
Okay.
have been, I think it was John Lennon or George Michael.
Right.
Um, Basically, I ended up writing six. So I'd done a John Lennon one, I'd done a George Michael one, I'd done a Black Sabbath one,
Hmm.
and he's had other people do ABBA, for example, Jill Griffin, she's done
Right.
ABBA, someone done
Okay.
Elton John, etc. And he's got
Yeah.
over 200 of these flipping discographies.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
I don't suppose you've got one handy.
I haven't though.
No, that's okay.
But I got
That's all
Duran
right.
Duran. I done,
Okay. I'm
and I
just
done.
imagining the size because coffee table books you imagine to be quite big,
Yeah,
but
no, it's quite
they're,
small.
they're quite
Well,
small.
they're A4 size. No, they're not.
Oh,
They're not A4 size. They're six by
A5.
nine, but they're
Right.
quite thin.
Yeah, slightly bigger than
Yeah, lots of pictures
normal.
in there because you've got all, and it'll even go as
Yeah.
far as putting the DVDs of them and that kind. I've done Amy Winehouse
All right.
and I've done Fuzzbox, which leads me
Yeah.
on to
It's a blast from the past.
yeah. So with the Fuzzbox one, that's when I got asked because. I was from Birmingham, so let me just put a bit of context around this.
Yeah.
So I've done the discographies, but then I've done what I call a meaningful. Um, I've done a couple of meaningful non-fiction books. They're
Mm.
both authorized biographies.
Okay.
So, because I've done the Fuzzbox one, and the girls liked it, what I'd done.
Mm.
Say the girls, the women, people of Fuzzbox world,
Yeah.
three surviving members.
Are they
They were
still
from the
get they?
80s. They were on top of the pops 8 times,
Yeah.
and they were from Birmingham.
Right.
So cut from the same cloth in terms of the Brummie
Sure.
attitude. We're of the same generation.
Yeah.
Um, and they'd read some of my fiction work as well, and because I set it in Birmingham, they liked the way I guess I approach my writing because it's very Birmingham-y. Is that the
Sure.
word? Very
Yeah.
Brummie-ish.
Well, if we can't make up words, then who can?
Yeah. So I started to work on the Authorised Biography of FUZZBOX,
Mm.
which has been finished and published 15th of December. And I have got that one for you.
There
And
we
it
are.
looks something like
Oh
that. We had a
yeah.
launch party in Birmingham and it was absolutely brilliant.
Wonderful.
Now, in between writing that, there was a guy called Robin George. Robin George was married to Vix the lead singer of Fuzzbox. Robin George was a musician married to her sister, Debbie,
Right.
then living in Spain.
Mm.
Robin had worked with Phil Lynott in Thin Lizzy.
And
He'd
is
worked
he?
with Roy Wood. He'd worked with Noddy Older.
Wow.
Fantastic guitarist in his own right.
Yes.
But he had all these bad luck things happen to him. Like, for example, with Thin Lizzy, he was going to be in the next Thin Lizzy. He wrote songs with Phil Lynott and that.
Mm.
Phil Lynott took the tapes away to work on over Christmas,
Right.
and then Phil Lynott passed away,
Wow.
and the tapes went missing, and they've never found them since. So that's just one of an example of the bad luck stories. Although
Yeah.
Robin was very well respected in the field of music,
Yeah.
he should have been a household name. He had all the ingredients, the looks and everything, fantastic guitarist, and he had his own song Heartline and his own album Dangerous Music. And I
Mm.
actually got that published before I finished the FUZZBOX one, and that's Robin's
Oh
book. There he
yeah.
is, looking very beautiful.
Yes.
But sadly, the reason Vix introduced me to Robin, because Robin became terminally ill,
Oh.
and so he wanted his authorized biography doing and
Yes.
harnessing, which is obviously a privilege and an honor to be
Yeah.
asked to do it. Um,
Did he see it?
no, he
Oh.
saw about the first five chapters.
Okay.
Inevitably, he was never gonna last to the end, but he knew it was
No.
making a start. And one of his final sort of things he wanted was he kind of knew he weren't going to be around. Very brave about it, like he faced all them knockbacks in music.
Yeah.
That's how he faced his illness, He's
Right.
kind of almost, I'm not ill. I'm not dying,
Yes.
literally.
Yes.
That was his attitude to everything. He was such a resilient man, which is
Wow.
part of the story of Heartline, which is that one.
Mm. Yeah.
But where was I going with that? Yeah, what he wanted was a lot of fans to contribute, a lot of other people to contribute. So
Okay.
there's actually people from different musicians who've contributed. Peter
Mm.
Golby, for example,
Mm.
who was very, very Vix herself. Lots of different people have contributed. Sean Harris, who's lead singer of Diamond Head. Metallica have done 4 songs from Diamond Head, for example. So,
Yeah.
really good. But lots of fans as well. So lots of different people have
I love
contributed it.
them.
And lots of people have contributed to the Fuzzbox one as well, actually.
Mm.
They were both the subject matter people, the band's
Yeah.
artists I wrote about, very keen for fans to have an input into the books, and that's
Cool.
that's how it comes. So I'm at the moment on published 6 discographies, 2 authorized biographies,
Mm.
and I've got a couple of ideas for now I've put me toe in the non-fiction camp, which was never really a plan. But
Mm.
I've got a couple of ideas to write books around music, not necessarily or biographies, but
Cool. Yeah.
um,
Well, it's your world.
yeah, it's
You've
my
just
world. It's what I know. Yeah,
a foot in each world, haven't you? In
yeah,
music
absolutely. And
and
it's
publishing.
nice that I can still talk about music through writing.
Yes.
So yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, that's
Well,
it.
I think
And
these
I'm
days,
open to other biographies, people out there.
yeah. Well, I think these days there's so much information available because of the
Yeah,
internet, but equally there's so much that's already been written about people. How do you
yeah,
find it? It's tricky to find a new angle.
yeah,
So when you're with your fiction,
yeah.
when you've finished, who's the first person who sees it?
Probably my proofreaders in terms of before it's published, do you mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I've got
Not
a couple of
necessarily an editor, but sort of
no,
more
not necessarily.
a
Editor.
beta reader
To be
or
honest with you, I tend to self-edit a lot.
mm,
1, to keep costs down.
yeah,
2, because I do have edit. Don't get me wrong. I do have an edit of sorts, but it wouldn't
yes,
be what you say a carte blanche editor. I have proofreading,
yes.
and people check for grammar and things like that. Being a Brummie, the grammar can slip.
Right.
um, but part of me as well does that because the proofreading, I want to make sure, obviously, full stops in the right place, etc., etc.
Yes.
But part of me, because of the way I write, um, there's a rawness to it, and I could be wrong here, but I am always a little bit worried that I don't want to sanitize it too much
Yes.
because
Yeah.
that's how I write. That
Exactly.
is
I
how
mean,
it. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean?
The thing I'm very conscious of when I go through another author's book is it's
Yeah,
their book. And
yeah,
I always see if I'm leaving a comment, it's we and
yeah,
your. It's never my. I mean, I might say this is my experience,
yeah,
but I change very little. I
yeah,
think, say, if I get an 80,000 word book, when it goes
yeah,
back, it might be 79,000. It's very
yeah,
little. It's all tweaks.
Okay.
And often things I come across, especially in say dialogue, you've got, well, I don't know, well, maybe, well, okay,
Yeah.
and as soon as um, things like once more, I had an author she used to be one of mine at Bloodhound.
Yeah.
She's with Boldwood. In fact, she's gone back to Bloodhound after Boldwood. I think she just couldn't write quickly enough for what they
Yeah.
wanted more than she was able to give, and she went back to Bloodhound. And she loved the phrase, or just you know how we get phrases in our head.
Yeah.
Tim is saying basic every few words is basically mind
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
and you can hear once you hear
Yeah.
something so often, you then it becomes. So
Yeah.
I do if I see her once more,
Yeah.
I look through and see how many that generally they're
Yeah.
fine. But if
Yeah.
there are things that are too close
Yeah.
together, so there's a phrase that's and I've
Yeah.
noticed in movies, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But I have a 60-page checklist
Okay.
when I'm editing of
Yeah.
things that I come across a lot.
Yeah.
And so if say there are lots of once mores, I'll have
Yeah.
a paragraph in my
Yeah.
checklist that I
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
just copy and paste as a comment. And
Yeah.
it's very rare that I come across something I've never come across
Yeah.
before.
Maybe I need to,
Um,
because I'm not open. That's double-ended.
no,
I'm open to fresh eyes because I think that's
yes,
important because you
yes,
get so close to your work,
yeah,
you know. So I'm definitely open to fresh eyes, but like I say,
yeah,
it's very much a delicate balance for me because
yeah,
I'm not an Oxford Cambridge kind. I'm a working class Brummie,
yeah,
but I think that's part of the appeal as well for of my writing, if I'm allowed to say that, because there is that rawness, that grittiness to it, especially the
yeah,
Judd Stone series.
yeah.
So
But you do have, as long as I think, as long as any author, because
yeah,
I mean, I'm not expensive by any means, but the editing process is one of the biggest costs.
yeah,
So I'm absolutely au fait with if people have got other people they trust,
yeah,
paid or otherwise, then as long as somebody else sees it, because we are, as you said, we are too
yeah,
close to our own writing.
yeah,
And so as long as somebody else says it, because what you don't want as a especially self-published
yeah,
writer
yeah,
is for you to find out a mistake via
yeah,
an Amazon review.
exactly, exactly,
If you have
exactly.
half a dozen friends, say the other authors in New Street Authors,
Yeah,
because I think David was talking about setting up a critique group, or there is a critique arm to it
right,
already,
okay.
which would be wonderful. And because we are the people who we know,
Yeah,
um, we know what we're doing,
yeah,
and so I think yes, it's if you can afford it, great. But as long as you have a second pair of eyes,
yeah, yeah.
that's great. Who does
You
your
and I might have a conversation in the future
Okay,
about it. Now that I know you.
okay.
Um,
Yes, we're talking about covers. I will ask
yes,
you before we move on to covers.
yeah.
Are you a full-time writer now, or
Um,
do you work?
Technically, I suppose. Great question. Technically, I suppose I should be. Um,
Right.
but I'm not writing that often, if I'm being honest. Other things, life gets in the way. But yeah, I gave up my day job 2 years ago, ish.
Okay.
And
That's always a
writing.
brave, unless you're retiring, it's always
Yeah.
a brave step
Oh,
to
it
throw
wasn't
yourself in.
like, I mean, yeah, I'd done it. Part of the reasoning was, oh, I could concentrate me more on my writing, but it was
Mm,
because I was financially able to, you know.
yeah.
I'd never rely on my writing as a financial
Mm,
rewarding career.
sure.
There's still little jobs I do now, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Um, but it was just I've worked a very long time for my
Mm,
life. And I want to enjoy the rest of my life. So it was about
absolutely.
retiring was mainly about retiring.
Yeah.
Well, retiring from that particular day job to
Yeah.
free up more time to do what I want to do, including
Yeah.
writing. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward in 8 years, if they haven't pushed it further forward,
Yeah.
to getting a pension.
Yeah.
So yes, covers. You've shown us two books.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of your fiction
Yeah. So
ones?
here's one of the Judd Stone novels, Double
Uh-huh.
Fantasy. What you've got up there is Liverpool, because this one, although most of my books are set in Birmingham, including the Just Stone novels. He goes on holiday to Liverpool
I
because
love
he's a big
Liverpool.
Beatles fan like me.
Ah,
Double Fantasy. He's a
yes,
John Lennon album, actually. There is an album. John
there
Lennon's
is.
final album was called Double
Right.
Fantasy.
Oh, yes.
Um, and then I don't know if you've heard of Crank Caverns. So this is where I mix fact with fiction.
Okay.
Um, there is a place in Merseyside called Crank, real name of a village, and although it's this lovely little place, and I've been there, and I've been to the pub as well, which is very nice, and
Oh,
I've been to the caverns. There's Crank Caverns there.
mm,
There's a lot of um, legends and folklore around them caverns and around that part of Merseyside. It's
yeah.
absolutely fascinating. Um,
How did you
but
come up with that? I meant to ask you earlier on how you
yeah,
came up with the first name of Judge. No,
Judd.
not an homage to Judge Dredd by
No,
any
it's
means.
Judd.
Oh,
Judd.
Judd. Beg your
Judd.
pardon.
So I've
Yeah, I
always
like
loved the
that name.
name Jude. Being a Beatles fan, I always loved Jude. Hey Jude,
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
thought that was a bit too obvious. And
Right.
I've always liked the name. There's an American actor called Judd Nelson who was in
Oh,
The Breakfast Club, which is one of my
oh
favorite
yes,
iconic 80s movies. So I
yes.
just took it from that Judd.
Oh,
And
right.
Stone was actually from. So the first book in the series is called Mind Gorilla. That's taken from Mind Games, which is a John Lennon song, because Judd Stone, like me, is
Mm,
a massive Beatles fan,
right.
a massive John Lennon fan, and this is apparent through all of the books of the Judd Stone series. Um, One of the lines is something about the stones of your mind. So I was just looking for. I find names really, really difficult to
Right.
get, let alone for a protagonist in a
Sure,
series.
sure.
Um, but I just took it like that. So he became Judd
Yeah.
Stone.
Well,
But it
it's
turns
nice.
out there's quite a lot of stones. There's
Oh,
loads of
really?
stones in crime. I didn't realise.
Okay. Well, it's a nice solid name, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
J for the first letter of the first name
yeah,
is very popular. And you got
yeah,
James, and especially JB, James Bond, Jack Bauer,
yeah,
Jason Bourne,
yeah,
and I think Judd Stone is a nice solid
yeah.
name.
I think it is. I think it is a
Yeah,
good name, Judd Stone.
yeah.
It's well, I would say that, wouldn't I? But yeah, no,
Well,
it
yeah,
seems to work. Seems to
yeah.
work.
So who designs your covers?
So first of all, so let me go back to the non-fiction. So a
Mm,
guy called Gary Dillon did this. He likes to be called just Dylan.
okay.
I should give him a shout out because it's obviously
Yes.
he's done so much artwork within the book. He's a graphic designer,
Oh,
and
yes.
he was a fan of Fuzzbox, and he'd done it all. You know, as part. I'm just looking for his logo because his logo's here. He'd done it out of the goodness of his heart, bless him.
Oh, wow.
And so he deserves a shout out. He's a great
Yes.
guy. There we go. There's his little logo, Dylan Art.
Ah, yes.
But
Brilliant.
usually, um, that one, Robin's manager. So that's a photo took by Finn Costello, who is a famous rock guitar photographer who
Okay.
has took. That's an iconic picture of Robin throughout
Mm.
his fans with the guitar earring and that.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a no-brainer to use that.
Yeah.
When it comes to my fiction, Get Covers on this.
Oh, yes. In
Yeah,
Ukraine.
so. Well, I
Yes.
started off, so what with the series, I've had to keep that font. So I have changed, mainly driven by cost, if I'm being honest. There's
Mm,
nothing wrong with any of the people who have done my covers. They're all fantastic. And there's a guy called Arish June who's in the Philippines, actually, who deserves a shout out. He done my first, he done Mind Gorilla, the first book in the series.
mm.
He done Club 27, the second book in the series. And he done Things I'll Never See, which is my Peak District's book, The Rockstar, the standalone, and Jake Zenner is the guy in that, so another J.
Okay, yes. Good.
um, so Arish June, he's done them, and I have an idea of what I want, and just say like, I want this, I want that. You know, Club 27, for example. I said I want to fit. So I weren't very good really to the artist. They must have been going, "Ooh."
Mm,
But I went to Aris for Club 27. I want like something on the front cover, a figure that is not necessarily male, not necessarily female.
mm,
I want a guitar on the back. I want a tombstone saying, "Here lies age 27," because it's about the 27 Club, you know, all them pop stars that died at 27, Jim Morrison,
oh,
Amy
yeah.
Winehouse, Kurt Cobain,
Yeah.
etc. So what Judd does in that book is try and explore why that keeps happening.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's and Aris was fantastic at taking my waffle from my email and just translating that into a pictorial image. But then I just went on to get covers simply because they're so reasonably
It's
priced, you know.
£35 or
Yeah, I
dollars
mean
or
it's phenomenal.
on that.
Cootie Designs was another. That was a standard. I just saw this one. So you know, a lot of cover artists they have they already do them, don't they? You know, apart from the customized ones, they just have what they're called
Yeah.
ready-made covers. And I saw one that fitted Luna. It was a woman walking up the stairs. It just looked perfect. I
Yeah.
says, if you can just stick a moon in the corner, and if you can just use the font, and that's what I've said to I've had to say to get covers. It's a series, so the font needs to stay the same, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So get
Yeah.
covers is my in a
Just
long
looking
in
that
a
up on.
long answer. My go-to now is get covers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't know until recently somebody else, I think, I don't know whether it might have been Helen A.
yeah.
Abbott, who said that Miblark, because I can't remember who it was I interviewed, but they have their covers with Miblark. Miblark do their covers.
Right.
They're
Okay.
more sci-fi. It was Eric yeah, a couple of nights ago, and Goebbelbecker, and his covers are done by Mibble Art, and they are
Okay.
part of Get Covers. Or Get Covers is,
Oh, I
but
didn't know
they're in the
that.
Ukraine as well. They're all. I think Mibble Art. I think specialise more in the sci-fi, so it's a
Yeah.
branch of Get Covers.
Okay.
You
All
know, they
right.
are great. I'm just looking at your page on Self
Yeah.
Confessed,
Yeah.
and they are great covers, especially Double Fantasy because it literally
Yeah.
leaps out at you.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the legends is about the white rabbit, and if you look right down in the little bit of the corner, there's a white. I
Oh
said, get a
yeah.
white rabbit on there. Get a white rabbit
Oh,
on there.
oh yes.
So, and then obviously the band thing,
Yeah,
you can see that. So yeah, there's a
yeah,
lot going on in that, which is
yeah.
good. I think it was Helen who put me on to get covers, to be honest.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find, I mean, this is a bit of a random question, but do
Mm.
you find having so many books, but having if maybe somebody goes to you for not necessarily as a reader,
Yeah.
find you through your non-fiction? I mean, I don't know if there's any way of telling
Yeah.
if anybody said they found you through non-fiction and then they buy your fiction or vice versa.
I don't think I don't think I'm aware of it.
No.
That's obviously the hope. You hope that everything you do sticks somewhere and then inspires other people to go on. So I
Yeah.
would hope, for
Yeah.
example, people who aren't used to, so FUZZBOX fans, as an example, who
Mm.
aren't used or don't know I exist as a fiction author, if they like that book, then think about looking at the website and thinking, oh, I'll try some of his
What
other
else?
stuff. So
There's a lot of it. I mean, that's a bit different because
yeah,
it's non-fiction. But as you say, you have a voice. It's your style
yeah,
of writing,
mm,
and a lot of people, especially if you're the echelon of like Lee Child, they don't
yeah,
care really what the book's about
no, no,
or how long it is or anything like that. It's just because they enjoy that particular
yeah,
author's style of writing.
correct, yeah, yeah.
And you're very true to yourself in the fact that,
I am, yeah, that is
and
true.
make no apologies for the fact that this is my style, this is where I'm from,
Mm, mm,
this is my style of writing, and I'm not
mm.
going to change it. Which kudos to you, absolutely.
Thank you,
And I'm
thank you.
very conscious that I never because it's very important to, and it's very difficult to explain what is authorial voice, what is an
Mm,
author's voice. It's just
mm.
it's just your style and
Yeah,
style
and
of writing.
it won't be for everyone, and I suppose there's a bit of a risk around that it'll
Mm,
turn some people off. But I think you hit the nail on the head about, but you got to be authentic and true to yourself. And when you start
exactly,
writing to formula, so to speak, I
exactly.
think you lose some of the magic and some of the heart of what you're trying to achieve. I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but I'm talking mega, really famous authors who I get to like books recently that they've allegedly written. So that's a whole nother debate.
Okay. Yes.
And they're just rubbish.
Uh,
Just like there's, it feels like they've just been churned out just to earn a fast book, as simple as that.
yeah. Well, I
Um,
think that's why James Patterson, for instance, collaborate.
yeah, yeah,
And I have heard, I don't know whether this is true. I don't know if there's any way of
yeah,
finding out, other than from somebody who is connected to him,
yeah,
that he comes up with the idea. So whoever he collaborates with has read
Yeah.
everything he's ever published,
Yeah.
and he gets the idea, gives it as, I guess, gives the plan to them.
Yeah.
They write it, and then he has it back and
Right.
shapes it into his
Yeah.
how he would have
Yeah.
created it, because he couldn't write anymore. It takes time to write a book,
Exactly. Exactly.
and
Yeah.
so he wasn't writing them quickly enough,
Yeah.
and therefore, and I think this is where we won't get onto AI, but this is
Yeah.
where I think if people are using AI to learn their style of writing, and one of my
Yeah.
books was pinched on
Oh
the
no.
whole meta going
No way.
on the plagiarism website.
Yeah.
Um, so the Society of Authors is one of many organisations who's
Yeah.
launching campaigns and court cases against Meta for stealing our
Okay.
work,
Okay.
for AI training.
Mm.
But I think if um, the readers want your new book quicker than you can do it, if there's a
Yeah.
shortcut to do it, then some people will take it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it just
Um,
doesn't sit right as a
no,
creative
no.
artist
Well, at
who
Amazon,
believes in your own work. That,
whenever you
yeah.
go on, so if you upload a new book, or you make changes on the bookshelf on
Yeah.
KDP, there is a question on one of the Amazon
Yes.
pages that you have
Yeah.
to tick. Did you
Yeah.
use
You
AI?
do.
Yes or no?
Correct.
And I
Correct.
always go no,
Yeah.
because we use AI all the time. We do a Google search, that's AI.
Yeah.
We go on
Yeah.
Wikipedia. A lot of
Yeah.
people have contributed to it,
Yeah.
but so many websites use AI.
Yeah.
And so it is a really useful tool, but
Yeah.
only for the back end, only for research.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what's the fun in not writing your own stuff anyway?
Exactly. Totally agree. Totally agree. That's
Yes,
the whole creative process, isn't it?
exactly. So marketing, the dreaded
Yeah.
marketing. You have a website.
I do.
Obviously, your books are on very Amazon. Are you
Yeah.
Amazon only, or are you wide?
Amazon only, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's another conversation we're going to have. Is one of the Tuesday, Thursday
Yeah.
panels is go Amazon, Katie, because I'm umming and ahhing. Some are and some aren't. I've had five that were select, but I
Mm.
earn more money from KDB select, and I use the word earn
Yeah.
very loosely. Earn more money through KDP select
Yeah.
than any of the others put
Yeah.
together.
KDP
So
Select is a good
yeah,
way of getting your books read.
yeah.
100%.
I would be mad to not. I've come out, but I can always go back in again. I haven't gone wide with those. So what do you do? Any other kind of marketing to the
Yeah.
book?
I wouldn't say I'm a fantastic marketer. It's the Achilles heel of nearly every indie author you talk to, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um, but I try. Social media is obvious one. The Fuzzbox book's been handy because they've got their own social media page, Fuzzbox Official. So they've done most of the donkey work on pushing that
yeah,
out, which is nice.
yeah. Are they still together? Have they been together? Because you have,
No, not no,
right.
they're not. Well, yes and no.
Okay,
So Vix and Tina performed at the launch together,
right,
which was
nice.
the first time in 30 odd years.
Wow.
So that's fantastic, yeah. We had a book launch, a box in Birmingham, had to be boxed in it, Fuzzbox at box.
Oh yes, of course.
Uh, and it was a triumph, absolute
Wow.
triumph. Adrian Goldberg hosted, lots of different people in the room.
Wow.
Fantastic, a lot of love, sold a lot of books,
Yeah.
signed a load of books. Fantastic night.
Right.
Couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to myself, yeah, sharing stuff on social media. If you get a decent review, you share that, all the usual stuff.
Yeah.
It's not other authors, I'm sure, are better than me. I'm not very coordinated, I kind of just throw things out.
Yeah.
But what the one thing that I do a lot, which I actually enjoy doing, is book signing events. I wouldn't. Sometimes they're called festivals. Sometimes they're called multi-author events, which is basically what it says on the tin.
Mm.
You and lots of other authors are in a room. You've got your table,
Right.
and readers buy tickets, and they come in, and they come and chat with you, and sometimes they even buy your books.
That's
But I like that because I like the personal connection.
yes, exactly.
You can answer any questions then
Yeah.
about your books. You can tell them exactly what your books are about,
Yeah.
and it actually it's like a ripple effect because I've done quite a few of these now. I know from networking from authors' point of view is very useful. So,
Mm.
the community by and large, I think, is very supportive of one another and the
Oh,
author
absolutely.
community. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially
Yes,
the
but
indie community, we kind of all help each other and we all see
yeah.
each other in the same boat.
Well,
And it's nice to catch up with them people again at a
yeah,
festival book signing events. But
sure.
also the readers, you do get readers. I've had it now where readers have bought one book, come to another book signing
Mm.
in a totally different city. But these readers, they're like they love going to these places as well.
Yeah.
And then they'll buy the next book off me, or even buy a series of books. So it works. It works, and it's good. I like it. I like it.
Yes. No, I think the when I announced, because the first event was going to, I've been doing the spotlights for about a year.
Yeah,
But the first event for Self Pub Fest was going to be this April in
yeah,
Aylesbury. And then I thought, well, let's do a January all day online. And I
yeah,
was a panel and a bit in, was sort of waiting for everybody to come in for the crime panel. And
yeah,
I thought, no, let's do this more often. So then I created the Monday mini fests to have on a Monday lunchtime. Well, it was staggered, but now it's Monday
yeah,
lunch. And then I was planning different topics, but then I was planning into July, and I said, this is crazy. I need to do this more often. And so then the TNT panels, the Tuesday and Thursday evening panels. And I don't think I would ever run out of self-published authors,
no.
but we only get, if I only included self-published authors, we'd only get one side of the
Oh, I
viewpoint.
totally agree with you. Totally
And
agree with
so
you.
now it's open to everybody, readers,
Brilliant.
unpublished, published. And I'm still, even with the Mondays and the Tuesdays and the Thursdays, somebody, HJ Furl actually, he said, could I, because I said, take a look at the calendar. There's now a
Mm,
calendar page which lists everything chronologically.
mm.
And I said, I have a look and see what appeals to you. And he said, oh, I'm disappointed that I didn't, because we've been chatting for quite a few weeks, and he
Yeah, yeah,
missed the characters, the Monday mini fest on characters. And he said, if you do another one of those, could I go on that one? So I said, yes, no problem. And
mm,
even with 3 times a week, obviously there's the odd week or two I can't
yeah,
do, but 3 times a week, the next character session on characters is the 28th,
yeah,
I think it's 28th of July.
yeah,
Even 3 times a week, we've got so much we can talk about.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah,
It will,
it's
it
really
will
good.
keep
I think.
going. It will
Yeah.
keep going for as long as I have breath.
Well, I think it's really good that you've set it up. I've
I
said it.
enjoy it. It has become a full-time job, so I need to be
Yeah, no,
better at
bless you.
going, right, no, this is my time, the
I think
morning,
it's
my
important
time.
though that you've got them to just a balance of indie, traditional, and unpublished because you
Yes.
learn from each other.
Yeah. Well,
The
we
different
we
walks
we
of
do know that because I'd love to have an agent. I'd love to be both. So
mm,
traditionally published and
yeah,
self-published with an agent with commercial fiction because I write quite quirky stuff.
yeah,
So I'm now
yeah,
writing more to market, as the saying goes.
yeah,
And so I'd love to get an agent and be traditionally published as well because it does
yeah,
get you on the festival
yes,
panels.
yes,
It gets you in book easier to get in bookshops because this one up here, the serial data,
yeah.
it was traditionally published initially just directly with the publisher,
Okay,
and it's set all around Northampton, and Waterstones in Northampton wanted it.
yeah,
The publisher obviously wanted it to be in Waterstones, but it had to go publisher to Gardeners, Gardeners to Waterstones, and Waterstones I think wanted, it was either 45 or 55%.
wow,
The publisher was really good and put the price down as far as they
mm.
could. And Waterstones said, no, still too expensive. We can't make
Oh
enough
my
on it.
God,
Even though it was in Northampton, set all around Northampton, you think they'd
yeah,
get exception.
that's
And I
frustrating.
said, well, can I buy them and then sell them to you? I don't mind if I break even or even make a
Mm,
loss. I just want them to be in there. No, you're not an approved supplier. So, if you can't get in, even being with a small
yeah,
press, an
yeah,
arm of a slightly bigger company, that there's still no way to get in Waterstones, even when they want it. So
that's
it's really
frustrating.
hard.
That's frustrating.
So exactly, yeah. So and now we've got a fourth evening just on short stories and poetry, so that'll be fun. And I
Yeah,
got a couple of people who emailed me last night and said when I was putting it on Instagram, oh yes, I'd love to come and read short stories. So that's
excellent.
most Saturday evenings.
Wow.
So yeah.
Do you have
So
any days off?
anything you'd like to be involved in, do let me know. But because Dave, when I set up the TNT panels, David said, "Oh, you're going to take over every single day," and I said, "No, that's it. Just the Mondays and just the
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays." And then I put it. You may have seen it in the WhatsApp group. And now we've got Saturdays. But that's it. And I
Yeah.
really don't have any more
You've
evenings.
got to have some Morgan time. You've got to.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, I have. I think the evenings that he's not out, I do need to spend to
Yeah.
remind myself I have a husband.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what do you do when you're not writing and
Um,
marketing and being?
yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, I've recently become a granddad, which is wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a
fantastic.
boy or girl?
Girl, Lila,
Oh,
uh, 2 months old, bless her. She's
oh,
beautiful.
lovely.
It's fantastic being a granddad.
I bet.
Also, we've got a Romanian rescue dog, Spike, so he needs walking every
Nice.
day. But I love to just chill. I love watching film. I'm a bit of a TV addict, to be honest.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love watching films. I do run my own radio show as well. I do a show on Ultimate 80s Radio, if I could say that.
Oh
So
yeah.
that takes
Yeah.
up a little bit of time. But that goes out of a Tuesday night on Ultimate 80s.
Right.
Just ask Alexa for Ultimate Radio at 7 o'clock, and it will play.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So
So
that's another,
do you have a
obviously.
studio? Do you have a studio there that you do?
No, no, it's all done from home. Software done at
Okay.
home, so it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Right.
You can just do it from home.
Oh,
Sets you up with the mic and everything, and
yeah.
you're away. And so obviously that's another outlet for my musical
Sure.
thingies, you know. So I love
Sure.
doing that. And at 80s,
Yeah.
I love that. Although I'm a huge Beatles fan,
Yeah.
80s really was my era. Massive
Do
George
you,
Michael
do you
fan.
have a? I was going to ask you
Yeah,
your favorite. It's like saying who's your favorite character. I can't tell you. They're my
yeah,
children. How can I
yeah,
pick one
exactly. Yeah.
child? Whether you
Yeah.
have it, who would you say is your favorite 80s artist or band?
It's George Michael. Wham. I love Wham.
Yes.
Unashamedly, I will admit I love Wham. But
Yeah.
I love George Michael solo as
Yeah.
well. I went to Highgate the other week,
Oh, nice.
saw his
Yeah.
grave in Highgate Cemetery. There's
Yeah.
lots of people in there. Malcolm McLaren's in there.
Right.
Trigger from Only Fools and Horses, Roger
Oh,
Lloyd Pack.
yes.
Um, it's one of them
Is
sort
it
of.
Karl Marx? I think is there as well.
That's it. He's in there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
others.
Highgate's
Jeremy
like the
Beadle.
go-to. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Jeremy Beadle. He's in there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I used to love
A
those.
few
It
others.
wasn't Candid Camera, was it? It was
Game for a laugh, weren't it?
Game for a
Game for a
Laugh.
laugh.
That
Yeah.
was it. Yes.
There's a few others I can't remember, but
Yeah. Oh.
yeah, but it's if you're into cemetery, which I don't know if that makes me a bit weird. I actually quite like going to cemeteries, especially Gothic ones. So I've been
Yeah.
to Père Lachaise as well, the one in Paris where Jim Morrison's buried from the Doors. So
Yeah.
it's his grave.
Yeah.
Edith Piaf is in there. Oscar
Yeah.
Wilde's in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
like them because I like looking at the names and how
yeah,
how old they were and
yeah,
and the little message from their
yeah,
families
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
we can do what we like, can't we?
We
We're
can do
we're
what we
no
like. So yeah, walking around cemeteries
yeah
is one of my pastimes. Not that
yeah
often, if I'm being honest.
yeah.
But I obviously still love me music. I like a real ale.
Oh
Definitely like a
yes,
real ale.
yeah.
I'm a bit of a ale snob, really, when
How
it
are
comes
you?
to yeah, yeah. But I do like my real ale.
Yeah.
Not into my lagers. Like
Yeah.
red wine. Love traveling. Love holidays.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, I've got me Amalfi Coast t-shirt.
Yes. Yes.
But
Somewhere I've never been. But I take my uncle out for lunch. We take my uncle out for lunch once a month to his local Italian in Treng. And they have a beautiful one of these sort of old fashioned railway 1920s railway
yeah,
poster
yeah,
of the Amalfi Coast in the
yeah.
ladies. And so I see that occasionally. No, it looks lovely. Never been to Italy. Would love to go to Italy, but
It's
I did
good,
say
really.
I'd like to speak the language whenever I go. So
Yeah,
Spanish islands, I'm fine. I
yeah,
can get by in Spanish. Germany, no problem. I can
yeah.
my
I
second
can't
language.
even talk English, so I've got no chance of talking.
Oh, I see. My favorite English language is Dudley.
Oh, I don't
The
lie. Oh,
accent, not language. Is
yeah,
I love the Dudley. Love the
yeah,
Dudley
Dudley
accent.
dialect. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what are you working on now? What's your next project?
Um, I'm currently doing a short story for an anthology. So since the Fuzzbox book, I've had to. hit out three short stories. So sometimes the book signing events I've spoke about, sometimes they do an anthology at them. Um, for the authors that appear in, which that's quite a popular thing, and so that's good with the short story side of things.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm doing a horror only genre. So although I'm a multifunctional author, really,
Mm,
I can't really put a pin. I do crime, I do supernatural, but
mm,
because of the two books in the main that are standalone in the horror genre, it's a horror specific book signing.
mm.
And there's two, and it's in Liverpool, so no brainer for me to go there.
Absolutely.
And there's two anthologies for that one, and one of them would have to be based on Beatles song titles. So
Mm,
it's like, okay, I'm going to do this.
yeah.
So I used the song "And Your Bird Can Sing," which is on the Revolver album. So not the most well-known Beatles song. Um,
No,
so I've done it.
that's my favorite. Well, one of my favorite
Yeah,
albums.
yeah, it's a brilliant
Um,
album.
I think my it's a bit like ABBA. My I love. Sorry, Lee Benson, if you're watching this, because he banned. He interviewed me last week,
Yeah,
and he banned Adele. So I've said that. Well, I would have chosen Skyfall,
yeah.
except that. And we'd Tim and I'd been to the what's the hologram Voyage,
Oh yeah.
the ABBA
Oh
thing in
yeah, I want to
London,
go and
which
see
was
that. I
amazing.
want to go.
Amazing. So I love
Yeah,
ABBA.
yeah,
And but my favourites ABBA are Eagle,
yeah,
Fernando,
yeah,
and The Day Before You Came. So they're not
yeah.
the sort of well-known
No,
top ones. And
no.
the same with the Beatles. I love
Yeah,
For No One.
yeah,
She's Leaving Home,
yeah,
and then The Fall on the Hill, A Day in the
yeah.
Life, the more
Brilliant,
well-known ones.
brilliant.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
love
All of them
ABBA.
tracks are brilliant. There's nothing I don't like by the Beatles anyway.
No.
So yeah, so I've done two for the two separate anthologies for Liverpool, done that, and I'm now working on one for Wonderland, which is in Nottingham. Has a Wonderland theme, which is really good. Alice in
Mm,
Wonderland and
mm,
the Mad Hatter and all that.
right.
So I'm just working on that one now. But once that's
Yeah.
done, I'll go back to doing. This is the funny thing, this is what happens. Life takes over, doesn't it?
Mm,
Life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans, as John Lennon said.
sure.
When I retired 2 years ago,
Mm,
I started to work on book 5 and 6 of the Judd Stone series simultaneously. Then the FUZZBOX gig come,
right.
then Robin George's gig come,
Yes.
and I had to put that to one side. But I'll probably go back to
Back.
doing the Judd Stone series.
Mm,
And that was quite ambitious to do books 5 and 6 together. But I had the ideas at the same time, so I thought, you know what, I'll just
cool.
do them
Yeah.
together.
I like
Um,
working on more than one thing actually, because then if
yeah,
you get to a certain point with one, you can just switch over to the other one.
yeah,
It doesn't mean that you have to stop.
exactly. But then I don't know what's coming down the pan. I mean, from the Fuzzbox book, there is going to be a documentary made, a Fuzzbox documentary,
Oh,
which
great.
is really exciting. Working with
Yeah.
Free at Last TV, which Barry Ryan, the guy behind Agatha Raisin. Do you know Agatha
Oh
Raisin?
yes,
Yeah, that's
yes.
just one of
Yeah,
the things that
I was
he's
going to say
produced.
Leslie Judd. Is her name Ashley Judd?
No, Ashley,
Ashley.
that's it.
Yes.
Ashley
Yeah.
Jensen, isn't
And
it?
Jensen. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. So that
Yeah.
will take up some of my time.
Wow.
Um, but then there's a couple of talking about biographies, but nothing really solid that could come.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I think I'm still going to be busy.
Right.
But some will
Yeah.
come left the centre that I don't know about at the moment because it
Yeah.
always does.
Well, you never know, do you?
No.
I say to people because I mean David Wake's booked in for pretty much everything that's going. Certainly
Yeah.
Monday Mini Fest, and I
Yeah.
say, well, if you do one thing, it's like having a little boutique shop down a side street that only the villagers know about.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing a dozen different things,
Yeah.
Mondays or Tuesdays and Thursdays or Saturdays, then because you'll have a page for each, then it's like you've got boots in
Yeah.
several towns within a
Exactly.
20-mile radius. So
Yeah.
the more you do and the more goes out,
Yeah.
then the more
Yeah.
likelihood is, and you never know who's going to find it.
No.
You might
No.
somebody might stumble upon it in just by searching the keywords
Yeah.
on online and go, oh yes,
Absolutely.
that's he sounds ideal for the
Yeah.
biography for
Yeah. Yeah. And just enjoy what you do, you know.
Exactly.
You enjoy it, just do it anyway.
Exactly. Yes. And don't we just? We love
Yeah,
what we do.
we love what we do,
When we
yeah.
get a chance to do it, we love what we
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
No, it has been a
And
pleasure for me. Thank you.
good. Thank you. Well, this will go up today.
Okay.
I'm going to let it marinate while I marinate, vegetate,
Marinade, marinade.
vegetate, marinate.
Yeah.
While I go off and I'm doing a talk for a local overseas. I can almost see the community centre from here.
Excellent. Have fun.
For the over 60s club, which will be fun.
Have fun, yeah. Have
About
a
me and
great
my
time.
writing. So so this will go up a little bit later today,
Thank you.
and see you soon.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much
Martin.
for having me
And
as your guest,
I
Morgan.
won't call you Martin Stacey. Was it
No,
Stacey, wasn't
it
it?
was Stacey, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Martin. Well, my best friend at school was Tracy.
There you
So
go.
that's easy to remember.
Fantastic. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for your time.
Thanks. No
Thank you.
problem.
Thank
Bye bye.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.